A girl named Sarah prepares to leave for her school with the hope of not being bullied for another year. However, as she enters the school bus, no one seems to notice her. Meanwhile, another girl named Farah talks about her cousin, Tasneem, who has just posted a viral back-to-school video. As Sarah hears this, she checks her own video and sees that she still has no likes. She looks disappointed and continues to listen to Farah, who says she's hoping to use Tasneem's membership to enter a bowling arena called Pins during the weekend. After they arrive at school, Sarah watches as some students run up to meet Tasneem in admiration. While Sarah is also staring at Tasneem, her best friend, Nadine, shows up. While they're talking, Tasneem approaches Sarah and Nadine to say hello. Sarah responds quite well, but Nadine doesn't seem to care much about Tasneem. As she leaves, Sarah looks unhappy about Nadine's attitude towards the girl. She also mentions that they need to improve their status from being invisible by being friends with someone as popular and smart as Tasneem. But Nadine doesn't seem to care, and they head to class together. As they get there, Sarah meets Tasneem to commend her for the viral video. She also asks if Tasneem could help her review the one she made. While this is happening, Nadine looks surprised and watches as Sarah gives her phone to Tasneem to check her TikTok page. As Tasneem is checking it, her best friend Hiba sees Sarah's phone and laughs at it before returning it. Nadine immediately stands up for her friend, after which she tells Sarah to leave the girls alone. Shortly after, the class teacher, Miss Abir, comes in. As she starts talking, Farah interrupts and asks the teacher if she and the class can do a TikTok dance challenge. However, Miss Abir says it's not happening. After class that day, the girls head to the school hall, where they meet the new head teacher, Miss Farida. She sounds quite strict as she introduces herself, and also tells the students to write down what they want to become in the future. After reviewing a few answers, she sees that a girl named Shams didn't participate in the exercise. Shams says she didn't expect the head teacher to check, and as Miss Farida then asks why she's carrying a camera around her neck, she says she's a filmmaker. Farida eventually moves back to the front and asks the students if there is anything they'd like to change in the school. While some of the girls mention that they'd like to have piercings, others complain about the food and their involvement in sports. After agreeing to grant their requests, she tells them that in return, all students must work on a project that aligns with their passions or where they see themselves in 5 years. As they hear this, the students start murmuring, and Farida mentions that the project will be submitted during the end-of-term celebration. Following this, all the students are dismissed, and before leaving school, Tasneem and Hiba talk about the project. While they're at it, Farah runs to sit with them and begs Tasneem to take her to Pins. However, Tasneem says she can't take Farah because she's going with her boyfriend, Omar. Despite this, Farah still looks excited for her cousin, who she adores. Elsewhere, Sarah stalks Omar's teammate, Ali, on social media. She appears to have a crush on him, but he has never responded to her messages. Sarah also checks Tasneem's page and admires her before heading down to meet her parents. Her brother Jawad is also there, and he asks if she would like to play a game with him, but she tells him she's not interested. She then looks nervous as she asks her parents if they can buy a new phone for her. Her dad looks disappointed, and as Sarah says her friends at school have better phones, he blames his wife for suggesting taking their daughter to a rich school. This soon leads to an argument between her parents, and Sarah feels at fault for this. The next day at school, Miss Farida tells all the students to submit their phones before entering their classes. While most of the students give it up, Nadine refuses to do so, and Sarah also supports her friend. Tasneem and a couple of other students also refuse to give up their phones. Despite hearing that only those without phones will enter the building, the girls still take a stand and refuse to go in. Suddenly, a teacher named Sharif notices Shams recording what's happening. He tells her to stop immediately, but she says she's filming for the school project Miss Farida gave them. As he then turns to Farida, he tells her that she's making a huge mistake by allowing a student to freely walk around while filming things. After a while, Tasneem tells Sarah that her TikTok videos are actually great. While Sarah is very happy about this, Nadine tells Tasneem to stop pretending to be nice. This eventually comes off the wrong way, as Tasneem tells Sarah that Nadine is only showing how she really feels about her video. But Nadine mentions that she knows Tasneem too well, and she can't be trusted. Shortly after, Tasneem says she's going to class, and all the other students join her. Sarah also chooses to leave, because she thinks Nadine doesn't actually like her videos. With this, Nadine is left alone with Shams, who comes closer so they can sit together. After school, Nadine says sorry to Sarah for what happened earlier. She also mentions that she was only standing up for Sarah, who tells her to stop doing it in a way that makes her look stupid. That night, they hang out at Nadine's house, and while they're there, Sarah says she really wants to go to Pins. Nadine is not interested, and Sarah looks disappointed, but she keeps stalking those at the bowling arena. As her battery gets low, she decides to pick up Nadine's charger in the drawer, but stumbles upon pictures of her friend looking happy with Tasneem. Sarah looks shocked and asks Nadine about it, but she says they were close in the past because of their parents. Before Sarah asks more questions, Nadine then suggests going to Pins. Sarah looks excited, and as they get there, Nadine bumps into Omar, who seems to admire her. She doesn't really care about this, but when the ticketer says she needs to buy her tickets as part of a group, Omar tells her to join his group. Even though she initially hesitates, Nadine agrees and also brings Sarah along. However, they're left shocked when they see that Tasneem and Hiba are also part of Omar's group. Tasneem and Hiba immediately voice out their dissatisfaction, but Omar gets them to behave well and welcome the two girls. They then set up two teams, with Omar joining Nadine and Sarah, while Tasneem and Hiba are joined by Ali. As Ali starts playing, Sarah can't take her eyes off him, and Nadine has to tell her to act chill. While they're playing, Farah shows up, saying she just found someone who let her in with their membership. Tasneem looks shocked and even tries to keep Farah away from the group. As always, Farah is still quite excited to be around Tasneem, even though she's asked to stay chill. Meanwhile, Sarah fails to hide her feelings, and Hiba realizes that she has a crush on Ali. She calls Sarah out for this and also says Ali would never be with someone like her. Nadine jumps up to defend her friend again, and as Hiba sounds really harsh, she decides to leave. Sarah also joins her friend, and as she walks away, she hears Ali saying he can't be with someone like her. Later that night, Sarah watches Tasneem's social posts and feels really disappointed in how her day went. After looking quite sad on her bed, Sarah decides not to accept defeat. So she gets up and thinks of a TikTok video idea on the type of girls in her school. That night, she makes a video where she mimics all the girls and even Nadine, who she calls a critic. The next morning, when Sarah wakes up, she looks excited as she finds out that her video has gone viral. Elsewhere, Shams sees Sarah's sudden social media growth and looks intrigued. At this point, she then decides to make a film about Sarah for her project. At school that day, Sarah has already become quite popular among all girls. While in class, the students are informed that interested candidates should signify their interest in the role of student council president. Just then, Tasneem nominates herself, and everyone except Nadine seems to think she's a good fit. Later on, while the girls are in the changing room, Farah starts announcing to people that she'll be Tasneem's campaign manager. Meanwhile, Hiba sees some students still talking to Sarah and looks quite jealous. After all the girls head out, Sarah stays behind to check her notifications, but Nadine catches her and says she shouldn't be doing it in school. She also complains about how Sarah portrayed her in the video, but her friend says she's only being paranoid because it's not so serious. As they both leave, Shams walks out from where she was hiding after listening in on their conversation. While on the field, Tasneem approaches Sarah and commends her on the video idea. She also suggests doing a video together, and Sarah looks excited about this. Tasneem then offers Sarah a spot to audition for a musical performance that will be part of her school project. As they're talking, Hiba walks past them and looks unhappy about this. From where she's sitting, Nadine also seems worried for Sarah. Just then, a new PE teacher, Coach Firas, gets the attention of all the girls. After training that day, Sarah heads to the audition. While she's there, Farah tries to perform, but Hiba and Tasneem tell her not to bother because she'll be in charge of the lights and sound. Farah is not happy with this, but she doesn't say anything. Sarah then performs and impresses Tasneem, who then welcomes her on board. The next day, on her way to school, Sarah tells Nadine about all the weird comments she keeps getting from people who are offering her money to send pictures of her feet. As they joke about it, she gets an invitation to an event where a popular influencer named Karen will be the guest of honor. Sarah looks excited about this, and Farah also hears her. Immediately, they get to school. Farah tells Tasneem about it because she knows how well her cousin likes Karen. After hearing this, Tasneem then decides to start getting closer to Sarah. As she enters the school building, she sees Sarah and invites her to a sleepover at her house. Without any hesitation, Sarah accepts, but she has to deal with Nadine, who sounds annoyed because they already had plans. She also adds that Tasneem might be up to something, but Sarah is tired of Nadine's negativity, so she leaves. After walking away, Shams then meets Nadine to ask if they can hang out, but she refuses angrily. Later that day, though, Nadine thinks of apologizing, but before she can, she sees Shams entering an old school bus and meeting with one of the cleaners named Sumaya. After school, Sarah struggles to pick something to wear for Tasneem's sleepover. She asks her mom for new clothes, but she says there's no money. Her mom then advises her to make money by running ads for people. Sarah eventually picks something to wear before leaving for Tasneem's house. When she arrives, the house appears to be quite luxurious, leaving Sarah amazed. As usual, Hiba makes fun of Sarah, and when Sarah also looks starstruck as she greets one of Tasneem's friends who is a singer, Tasneem tells her that she needs to act like she's bigger than all the girls in the room so she can be respected. Following this, she offers to give Sarah new clothes to wear. As Tasneem is getting her ready, Sarah says it's good to have a friend who understands how important it is to be a fashionista, unlike Nadine. Sarah then asks why they stopped being friends, and Tasneem says Nadine only wanted to do things her way. Shortly after, they rejoin the others, and while Tasneem is eating a piece of cake, her mom comes with drinks for all the girls. But Tasneem immediately hides her cake and covers her mouth slightly until her mom leaves. Meanwhile, Nadine sees that Sarah is already hanging out with Tasneem, so she decides to find Shams and say sorry for what happened earlier. As she gets to the house, Omar answers the door, and she looks surprised as he says he's Shams' brother. When Shams also shows up, she confirms it and says that most people don't believe it. Nadine eventually says sorry for what happened, and Shams welcomes her in. As she enters Shams' room, Nadine sees several pictures of the school on the computer, but Shams says it's for something she's working on. Elsewhere, Farah shows up at the sleepover unannounced, saying she knows Tasneem forgot to invite her. Tasneem looks extremely shocked and uncomfortable to see her, but she says nothing. After a while, Farah suggests playing a game where everyone leaves their phone on a table, after which every call or message is answered or read out loud in front of the others. Everyone agrees to do it, and after a while, Hiba receives a message. She tries to avoid reading it to everyone, but Tasneem takes it from her and finds out it's a message from Coach Firas, warning her to stop texting him. Hiba looks embarrassed, but she collects her phone from Tasneem. After a while, Farah gets a call from her mom, and as she's forced to answer it, the group hear Farah's mom complain about how she's always going to see Tasneem. Farah's mom also says some bad things about Tasneem, but after Farah ends the call, she begs her cousin to forgive her mom. Meanwhile, Shams asks Nadine if she's not intrigued by Sarah's sudden fame. However, she says she doesn't find it interesting. Nadine then asks if Shams is using Sarah for her project, but she denies it. She then advises Nadine to call Sarah to say sorry for their fight earlier in the day. The same time, Tasneem's phone beeps next, and the girls find out that she's trying to buy followers on her accounts on social media. They look disappointed in her, but she lies about it being a spam message. Shortly after, Nadine calls Sarah. Even though she tries to stop the other girls from listening, they all hear Nadine initially apologize before telling Sarah to be careful around Tasneem. Just then, Tasneem collects the phone from Sarah and switches to video call. Nadine looks disappointed, and as she complains about Tasneem and Hiba, Omar enters Shams' room and appears on the call. All of a sudden, the call ends, and Tasneem is shocked as she wonders why Nadine is with Omar, who is equally confused. It then turns out that Shams texted him to come to her room for an emergency. Before he can say much, Tasneem calls him and he has to leave. Shams then says sorry to Nadine for setting her up, but she says she enjoyed it. The next day, Nadine stops Sarah from sitting next to her on the school bus. After they arrive at school, Nadine registers for the student council election, and on her way to class, Sarah stops her to say sorry for what happened during the game. Nadine doesn't seem interested, and their conversation eventually ends with Sarah saying she's done with their friendship. Tasneem also shows up and tries to fight with Nadine, but Sarah stops them before it escalates. As she then walks away, Nadine goes into the restroom and looks really sad about what happened. While thinking about it, she suddenly gets angry and goes to meet Shams, as she's secretly getting Sumaya to plant cameras for her inside the school. After entering the bus, Nadine says she knows Shams is working on Sarah, and she's also interested. She says she wants Sarah to see that no one would look at her twice without her fame. However, Shams says it's not enough, because she wants to watch Sarah crash to her downfall. Meanwhile, Sarah receives a text from a user named Modadi, who tells her to send pictures of her feet to get paid. She looks surprised by this but ignores the message. The next day, Tasneem puts her campaign posters around the school and laughs at how Nadine's own looks. While they're at it, another candidate named Marwa walks past them with her group, whose looks scare Tasneem and Nadine. While this is happening, Shams is watching it from her surveillance cameras inside the school. Shortly after, she watches as Tasneem invites Sarah for a shopping trip later that day. She agrees, but as Hiba arrives, she looks angry and complains about it as usual. However, Sarah stands up for herself, leaving Hiba and the other girls shocked. Later that day, during the debate, all the candidates perform well, and Nadine also earns some supporters with her speech. However, the candidates soon have a clash of opinions, so Miss Abir is forced to call off the debate. When they return to class, Shams sends a paper message to Nadine, asking if they can meet at her house after school to discuss their plan for the film. Nadine agrees, and as she smiles, Tasneem sees that something is going on between her and Shams. As class ends, Tasneem asks if Shams will vote for her, but she says she won't. As Hiba then asks if Nadine has a chance of winning, Tasneem says she won't let that happen. Following this, the girls head out for their shopping trip. While in the car, Sarah gets another message from Ali and looks happy. The other girls ask her about it, and she tells them that Ali just followed her and is now texting her. Shortly after, they arrive at the store, but Sarah is unable to pick any clothes because she can't afford them. Tasneem eventually gets Sarah to try on a nice dress. However, as she sees the price, she says she doesn't like the dress. After the girls leave the store, they head over to get lunch. While Sarah goes to the restroom after eating something she's not used to, Hiba asks why Tasneem is suddenly friends with her. Tasneem says that apart from the fact that Sarah has helped her gain some followers, she also wants an invite to the event with Karen. That night, after they leave the restaurant, Tasneem gets the girls to sneak back into school. Shams sees this as it's happening, so she leaves her house and runs to school so she can record it. As Sarah soon realizes that they're back in school to ruin the posters and frame Nadine, she doesn't look happy with this. However, Hiba tells Sarah to pick a side. Despite initially saying she doesn't want to do anything to hurt Nadine, Tasneem and Hiba get Sarah to join them, with Shams getting everything on tape. Elsewhere, Nadine arrives at Shams' house, only to hear that she's not around. However, Omar welcomes her in, and they start talking. He tells her that he finds it interesting that Nadine is friends with his sister, even though she's weird. Shams sneakily enters the house and hears Nadine defending her. She looks happy and eventually shows up to the two of them, but Nadine says she's leaving. That night, Sarah gets a message from Mo Dady, telling her to send a picture of her feet for $300. To show that he means it, he asks for her account number first. With this, Sarah collects her mom's account number after lying that someone wants to pay her for an advert. The next morning at school, Tasneem pretends to be pissed when she sees that her posters have been destroyed. As she blames Nadine because only her posters were not affected, Sarah decides to tell her old friend. Marwa also gets pissed, and she plans with Tasneem to crush Nadine. Before Sarah can tell Nadine anything, the girls from the opposition groups arrive. Nadine looks confused, but as she's about to be beaten, Sarah stops them, saying they need to get proof first. Just then, Miss Abir shows up and dismisses the students, with Nadine looking shocked to see that Sarah stood up for her. However, Hiba and Tasneem can't believe this, but Sarah says she didn't want Nadine to get hurt. Later that night, Shams starts compiling the videos she made at the school the other night. But as she sees the one where Sarah was telling the girls she didn't want to do it, Shams deletes it. Elsewhere, Mo Dady sends the money to Sarah as planned, and after so much hesitation, a message from Tasneem inviting her to a show that costs $100 is enough to get her to send the picture. The next day is election day at the school, and while everyone is talking about Tasneem being their favorite candidate, Shams sends them the video to prove that Tasneem and her girls ruined the posters. Everyone is shocked to see this, and it also gets to Miss Farida, who starts to wonder why there are hidden surveillance cameras in the school. As Marwa and some other girls confront Tasneem, Nadine also faces off with Sarah for working with the girls to frame her. After she walks away, all the girls start fighting and Miss Abir has to turn on the sprinklers to disperse them, while Shams walks away happily. Miss Farida then cancels the election and invites Tasneem and her friends to her office. When they get there, Miss Farida scolds and suspends them for 3 days. When they leave the office, Tasneem sounds very angry and tells the girls that they need to find whoever released the video. The next day, Sarah takes Tasneem with her to Karen's show. Tasneem catches Sarah wearing the dress she said she didn't like the other day. When she asks about it, Sarah says she just had a change of heart. They eventually have a fun time and take several pictures with Karen. The pictures get posted on social media, and as Hiba sees it, she looks angry and sad because her best friend is now hanging out with someone else. The next day at school, Nadine also looks jealous to see Sarah still hanging out with Tasneem. After rehearsals for their school project, Farah tries to get Sarah to do a TikTok video with her. However, Sarah seems so focused on her phone that she doesn't pay too much attention to her. Later on, when she returns to class, Sarah gets messages from Ali inviting her on a date. Sarah calls Tasneem to come with her, and even though Tasneem doesn't want to go initially, they leave together through a damaged part of the school fence. While they're leaving, Shams sees them and records it while she's with Nadine, who says no one must see it. However, Shams convinces her that it would be good for their film. Tasneem and Sarah then meet with Ali and Omar. While they're together, Sarah gets a message from Mo Dadi telling her to send a video of her dancing in her school uniform. Sarah ignores it and then hears Omar talking about his upcoming birthday party. The next day at school, Farah begs for an invite to Omar's birthday, and Tasneem says she'll send it later. During training, Hiba tackles Sarah aggressively, and Tasneem senses her jealousy. Shortly after, in the changing room, Hiba confronts Shams for always being with a camera. However, Nadine comes over to defend her new friend before they leave together. After everyone also heads out, Sarah is left with her thoughts. Despite blocking Mo Dadi, he has sent a message to her number to threaten her that if she doesn't send the video, he'll expose what she did for money. Sarah feels worried about this and eventually cries before recording the video. The next day, Nadine sees Sumaya arguing with Shams about the surveillance cameras. At this point, she realizes that Shams was the one who posted the video of Tasneem and the girls. Because this wasn't part of the plan, she walks out on Shams before she tries to explain herself. That night, Omar hosts his party, and Nadine confronts Shams, who says she's only treating Tasneem and her friends the way they treat others. She also adds that she's ready for whatever the consequences are. Elsewhere, Farah gets dressed for the party and asks Tasneem about the invitation to Omar's party. However, Tasneem sees the message and ignores it as she arrives at the party with Sarah. They're soon joined by Hiba, who still doesn't like how Tasneem keeps hanging out with Sarah. While Omar is then talking to Nadine, Tasneem gets jealous and starts stress eating. Shams sees her and jokes about this, but Tasneem is not having any of it. Shams then taunts her by saying she's worried about the wrong person when her boyfriend is flirting with another girl. Tasneem gets angry and goes into the house to find the restroom, where she then vomits all she ate. After she's through, she sees Shams' room and decides to go in. As she enters, she sees that Shams has her name on the wall, and it doesn't take long before she figures out who sent the video. Immediately, Shams comes in, Tasneem insults her, and shortly after, Omar and Nadine also come in after hearing their fight. Tasneem tells Omar what his sister did and how Nadine knows about it. However, Nadine denies knowing anything about it, and Shams feels betrayed, after which she tells everyone to get out of her room. Elsewhere, Sarah gets a text from Mo Dadi saying he wants to see her in person. Before she can respond, Hiba and Tasneem sit next to her. Tasneem then reveals that Shams was the one who uploaded the video. They're all angry at this, and Tasneem says she'll ensure Shams regrets it. Just then, Tasneem and Sarah leave to watch Ali singing. Hiba looks jealous again, and Shams sees this. She then offers to give Hiba the video of Sarah and Tasneem sneaking out of school. Hiba looks quite desperate, and she receives the video before leaving. Shortly after, Hiba sends the video to Miss Abir, but instead of doing anything, she deletes it. Elsewhere, Farah cries in her room after missing the party and realizing that Tasneem doesn't seem to care about her. Later that night, after the party, Sarah gets a message from Mo Dadi, telling her that if she doesn't come over to see him in person, he'll release her video, and this gets her scared. The next day, while in school, he threatens her again and says she has to meet him by 12. Sarah gets scared and tries to sneak out through the fence, but she finds out it has already been fixed. She still tries to break through, but just then, Miss Abir stops her from going anywhere. At Miss Abir's office, Sarah looks really scared, but the teacher gets her to explain why she wanted to leave school. Miss Abir then calls a detective to help with the situation, and she assures Sarah that her parents won't find out. She also tells Sarah that what happened is one of the reasons she often complains about the girls spending time on social media. Following this, Sarah leaves the office and even ignores Tasneem on her way out. Elsewhere, Nadine says sorry to Shams for how she denied her in front of Omar. However, Shams doesn't care, and she says they're no longer friends. That night, Sarah starts to regret her actions as she looks at her old chats. Just then, Jawad comes into her room, and she asks if he would like to play a game with her. Jawad is excited by this, and he agrees. As Sarah leaves the room to get it set, her phone beeps on the bed, and as Jawad checks it, he sees her messages to Mo Dadi. He also looks shocked as he sees the video she recorded. Despite this, he takes a screenshot and sends it along with the video to himself. Elsewhere, Tasneem gets nervous and starts stress eating again. Her Her mom then suddenly comes in to scold her after hearing that she sneaked out of school. She also sounds harsh as she complains and mentions how hard she works to make Tasneem perfect. The next day, while at school, Jawad tries to call someone to report what happened to his sister. While he's at it, one of his classmates snatches his phone from him and sees Sarah's video. Jawad tries to explain that someone is blackmailing his sister, but he's unaware that his classmate is already uploading the video. After the video is uploaded, he returns the phone to Jawad and acts like nothing happened. While Jawad is walking away, a bully named Essam confronts him and shows him the video. He's left shocked by this, but as he tries to fight back, he gets beaten. The video soon goes viral, and Sarah is also insulted by her fellow students. As she realizes what's happening, she runs to the restroom to hide. Jawad also hides in the restroom and regrets sending the video to himself. A while later, the boy insults him while in class, and Jawad stabs him with a sharp object after school, but he gets to escape. Meanwhile, Miss Abir soon gets the other students to leave Sarah alone. Shortly after, her mom comes to pick her up while the other students still stare at her. Elsewhere, after a football game, Ali is asked about Sarah, but he denies ever liking her. Omar is right there, and he looks disgusted by his friend's lie. That night, Sarah is left heartbroken as she hears her parents fighting over what she did. At school the next day, Nadine accuses Shams of having something to do with the released video. Shams denies it, but Nadine doesn't believe her. Elsewhere, Farah asks if Tasneem has called Sarah, but she says she's not interested in speaking to her. Just then, Farah complains about how Tasneem treats people badly while pretending to be nice. She also says she's no longer interested in being friends with Tasneem. Much later, Nadine asks to see Omar. When they meet, she asks him if Shams could have released Sarah's video. Omar says even though Shams has a good heart, she acts weird sometimes, and it's hard to tell if she could have done it. Elsewhere, Tasneem disobeys her mom's instructions and leaves the house even though she has piano lessons. She then goes to meet Nadine, who looks shocked to see her. Tasneem says there was nowhere else she could go, and after entering the house, she tells Nadine about her eating disorder. Nadine feels sorry for her, and shortly after, she asks if Tasneem has spoken to Sarah, but she says she hasn't. Just then, Shams also arrives at Nadine's house, but when she sees Tasneem, she doesn't say much before leaving. The next day at school, Sarah comes into her class and sits silently. While others stare, Nadine and Tasneem ask how she's doing. Before she says much, Miss Abir comes in, so they say they'll see her later. After class, Sarah goes for her project rehearsal with Tasneem, but Hiba tells her to leave. Sarah does just this, and Tasneem fails to stop her. That night, while in her room, Jawad enters and confesses that the video was uploaded through him because he tried to help her. As they hug each other, the police arrive at the house to arrest Jawad for stabbing his classmate, and Sarah cries because she thinks it's her fault. The next day, Farah asks Tasneem if she can take Sarah's part in the project. Tasneem agrees, and Farah looks excited. However, when she gets to practice, Hiba says she doesn't want Farah. Despite this, Farah continues to make a case for herself, but Hiba suddenly lashes out and says she's not fit for the team. As Tasneem then tells Farah to help with the light and sound instead, she feels betrayed again. While in class, Shams sends a paper message to Sarah, leaving Nadine confused. After class, she also sees Sarah coming out of Sham's bus and doesn't know what to think. After Tasneem is done vomiting, following another episode of binging food, Nadine shows up and tells her to get help from a therapist. However, Tasneem says Nadine should let her deal with her problem herself. That night, though, Tasneem builds the courage to tell her mom about her eating disorder. After rehearsals the next day, Farah stays behind and sings to herself in the hall. While she's at it, Hiba returns and even sits to watch her. When Farah is through, she sees that Hiba has been watching her. Before Hiba leaves, Farah asks why she's always so mean. Hiba says that Farah needs to understand that even with her talent, there are other things she needs to have, such as good looks and status. She says that without them, Farah needs to know her place. As she's about to leave, Farah says Hiba could have helped her regardless, but she was mean for no reason. Elsewhere, Nadine confronts Shams and tells her not to proceed with the film because it could destroy Sarah. However, Shams doesn't care because it's what they agreed to do from the start. Much later, Tasneem apologizes to Nadine for what she said the other day. Nadine accepts the apology, but when Tasneem sees that she's still looking sad, she asks what's wrong. Nadine then tells Tasneem about the film and how she thinks it will ruin Sarah if Shams goes through with it. Tasneem then thinks of something, and later that night, she takes Nadine to Omar's house. But Shams is not there, so they get Omar to let them into her room to delete the film. Despite initially refusing to let them in, he eventually agrees. Shortly after, Nadine deletes the video before Shams comes back. Elsewhere, Sarah hears her parents talking about Jawad, who could be sentenced to 10 months in jail. She feels really sad and starts crying as she walks around his room. The next day, all the students are ready to present their projects. While Tasneem and the other girls dress up, Farah still looks unhappy. A while later, the presentations start and the students showcase their projects. After a while, it's Tasneem's turn, so Farah goes to operate the sound and lights. She looks very sad as she does this, and after the performance, she returns to her seat silently. Shortly after, Shams climbs the stage for her presentation. She says it's about the reality behind the fake life people portray. As part of her speech, she commends Nadine for helping her with the film and also making her see things from a different perspective. Nadine is shocked and she realizes that Shams had a spare copy. The film then starts with embarrassing videos of Farah while she's trying to do something to go viral. Everyone laughs at this, and Farah gets uncomfortable and leaves while crying. The video then exposes Tasneem and Hiba for not being as perfect as everyone thinks. After that, Sarah's part starts showing, and as Nadine stands up to stop Shams, she's left shocked to see a recorded video of Sarah narrating what happened. Sarah says she only wanted to stop being invisible and thought social media was the solution. Just then, her embarrassing video starts showing, and Sharif instructs a teacher to turn it off. As this happens, Miss Farida mentions that she thinks Shams' film was good. However, she adds that there will be appropriate punishment for Shams because there was a serious breach of privacy in the film. Before she continues, Sarah asks to say something, and Miss Farida lets her. Sarah then climbs the stage and says that the only reason she agreed to share her story is because she wants her friends to learn from it. She adds that she wanted to be like Tasneem, without knowing she was also suffering from something. She mentions that if anyone doesn't think they're good enough, they need to know they're not alone. As she's talking, Hiba realizes that Farah is no longer in the hall, so she heads out. Sarah then concludes her speech by saying that if she could do things all over again, she'd know that she didn't need to be like anyone, when she already had everything she needed around her. Everyone then applauds her, while some also give her an ovation. Elsewhere, Hiba walks around the school but still doesn't see Farah until she enters the restroom, where she sees that Farah has slit her wrist and killed herself. She immediately screams, and as everyone comes over, she cries as she tells them that Farah is dead. As everyone then cries about this, Shams can't believe the damage she has done with her video.